Let's see here. Ooh. Oh my.
What is cracking, everybody? It's MegapiemanPHD here, and welcome to a quick peek at Devil's Dare. Developed by Secret Base and available on Steam for $12.99, Devil's Dare is a beat-em-up. Plain and simple, but not quite as simple as you may think. The game does a great job of fixing some of the flaws traditional beat-em-ups have, be them at the arcade or on your own home console. Don't start thinking that this makes the game easier than old-school beat-em-ups, because it doesn't. Devil's Dare is just as difficult as its competition and inspirations, but we'll dive into that a little bit later. But first, we have some history to cover. Now, Devil's Dare is a bit of a spiritual successor to one of Secret Base's previous projects called Bitejacker. Bitejacker was released in 2011 and is an isometric twin-stick shooter that takes place in a zombie apocalypse and is free to play on your browser. Even though the game's in a completely separate genre, some of its unique mechanics made their way over to Devil's Dare. The thing that set Bitejacker apart is how it handles its lives system. Since the game isn't an arcade game, there's no real-world penalty for dying, since you can't cramp quarters in your computer and expect something to happen. So the developers at Secret Base did something very interesting by allowing you to buy your way back into the game using in-game currency. As long as you had enough cash when you died, you could keep making forward progress. But if you were lacking in funds, you had to start the game all over again. This mechanic, along with the game's pixelated visual style and zombie character designs, made their way over to Devil's Dare, and has been used as a selling point, saying that Devil's Dare is a beat-em-up with permadeath. That statement, though, isn't completely true, considering some of the mechanics in Devil's Dare, but I guess it's the easiest way of explaining how the system really works. For the most part, the system works out very well, but I do find a bit of it annoying at times. If you end up dying in Devil's Dare and lack the funds to keep going, the game doesn't automatically give you a game over. Instead, you have to manually choose it. Lack the funds to revive? You have to pick the option to die. Didn't buy a skull token at any previous shop, so you were able to restart the level that you died on? You have to pick the game over option and then watch as your save file is deleted. This feels a bit superficial. If I die on level 1, I know I'm not going to have enough money to revive, nor any skull tokens, but I still have to go through the menus before I can restart the game. And you're probably going to die a lot in this game due to some of its enemies' design. Also, every time you revive, it costs more to revive the next time. That's not a horrible idea, but it does make money extremely valuable, unlike in other beat-em-ups where money is usually only used as a point system. Thankfully, though, there are some mechanics that allow you to get more money, such as the fatality feature. Beat the living crap out of a zombie, and before they die, you'll get a short window where the words fatality will appear above them. Use one of your special attacks before that zombie fully dies, and you'll force it to drop some cash. Pick up the cash, and keep going. But there's a little bit more to it than that. You see, for me, beat-em-ups have always had three main problems. First, they're very repetitive. Second, it can be sometimes hard to tell which enemies you can actually hit. And third, friggin' stun locks, man! They're in every beat-em-up, and they drive me nuts. Devil's Dare does a bit to try to fix all of these things. There are 4 unique characters to pick from at the start of the game. You can even unlock the characters from Bitejackers for a total of 6 characters to play as. Each character uses the same controls, but does something different with them. You've got a basic 3-hit combo, a dash attack, and then there's your super attacks that I mentioned a little bit earlier. Many old-school beat-em-ups had stuff like this as well, but not in quite the same way. Games like Streets of Rage would allow you to sacrifice a portion of your health for a screen-clearing attack that would either kill everyone on screen or do a crap ton of damage to a boss. Instead of something like this, though, Devil's Dare takes a bit of a Castle Crashers approach by giving you a magic meter, or soul points meter in this case. Special attacks use this blue soul point meter, and the meter will charge slowly over time. But Devil's Dare does go a bit farther than Castle Crashers by giving each character multiple special attacks that can be done at any time as long as you have enough soul points. Pressing the special attack button on its own will do a defensive move, while pressing special attack and holding one of the direction keys will do a different special attack depending upon which direction you're holding. Each character has their own special moves, and each special move for each character takes a different amount of soul points to use. So there's a wide variety of things to learn for every character you can play as in the game. Soul points also factor into how you can handle being stun-locked. Unlike other games where you can be constantly stun-locked and even killed before you're able to do anything about it, if you happen to have enough soul points in Devil's Dare, you can perform your defensive attack to break out of that stun, in most cases. A breakout can only be performed if you're grabbed by enemies, and only within a short period of time during that grab, and only if you have enough soul points to do it. Breaking out, though, will overheat your soul point meter, so you will have to wait for it to fully charge before you can use any of your special attacks. So using breakout can actually be very, very dangerous at certain times. Either way, the breakout system is extremely helpful when dealing with basic baddies, but doesn't really help much with the stun-lock fiesta that some of Devil's Dare's bosses provide. Each boss throws a ton of BS at you, be it ranged attacks that can stun you, insanely quick reaction times to the pain in the butt to try to dodge, or just all-around annoying mechanics. You can also never get through an entire boss fight by fighting the boss one-on-one. You constantly have to fend off basic zombies while also dealing with whatever crap you have to for the boss. Each boss, though, is a reference to some kind of movie monster or villain, and that goes for just about 90% of the game as well. Movie, TV, and video game references are everywhere, with enemies like facehuggers from Aliens, a level called Moses Island that's thematically similar to Metal Gear Solid's Shadow Moses Island, Shovel Knight statues, and even dead Ninja Turtles in the sewer level. While we're talking about the sewer level, I do have to say, why does every game need a sewer level? I swear, pretty much every game I play nowadays, there is some level when you're in the sewer. All the references are easy to make out with the game's visuals, but I do really wish the game wasn't so bland with its palette. Just about everything is one of 50 shades of gray or red, and the game also is more a fan of brown than Cleveland. Unfortunately, the visuals don't really help all that much when it comes to the issues beat-em-ups have of not always knowing which enemies are within your range that you can hit, and it can sometimes be hard to tell when it comes to the enemies that are in front of you or behind you if you can actually hit them or not. This is a problem that just about every beat-em-up I've played has when it comes to how the characters actually move around on screen. I don't really know how they could have made this better, but unfortunately, Devil's Dare has this problem as well. Musically, though, the soundtrack is great, and each track does a good job at fitting the visual theme of the level that they're in. I do get an interesting Zombies Ate My Neighbors vibe from the soundtrack, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I will say, though, that some of the sound effects are a little bit off when it comes to their volume, as explosions are pretty much always 50 times louder than everything else. This is a problem when some of the bosses' attacks are specifically explosions, and it will be happening multiple times in a boss fight. Either way, Devil's Dare does a great job of being a beat-em-up. It fixes many issues that I've had with the genre for a long time, and even offers some randomization, such as randomly picked power-ups that you can buy at the end of each level. The game even lets you pick the order that you want to play each zone in, and changes up how many levels you'll have to play in each zone depending upon where you go when. Such as going to the train zone first, you only have to go through one level before fighting the boss. But any zone you go after that, you have to play through 2 levels before you can fight the boss. And any zone after that, you have to play through more levels before you get to the final boss of that zone. It really adds a lot of replayability to the game. One word of advice though, always start with the sewers, cause if you don't, you'll have to play level 2, which is the TV station level, and that boss fight is completely broken, since if you fall off the edge, you will neither die nor teleport back to the ground. You'll just be stuck somewhere in limbo and have to restart the entire game. Overall, the game is an awesome beat-em-up with a ton of replayability, and I would say it is definitely worth the price of admission. Unfortunately, the 4-player co-op is only local, so you can't play online with your friends, but the game is designed in a way that playing alone is just about as fun and challenging as playing with other people. It took me a little over 4 hours to beat the game once, and that's mostly thanks to luck, since the health upgrade showed up at the end level shop 3 times, and I bought it every single time. Judge me. I dare you. Come on, judge me. Do it. I dare ya. Anyway, it's a great game, and I definitely recommend checking it out, even if you don't like beat-em-ups. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching, and please let me know what you think of the game and this video in the comments section. I'm MegapieMan, and I'll talk to you guys later. own mechanics somewhat similar to what they were in their own games. It's just about every gamer's dream come true to have some of their favorite video game stars all in one place, and for Team Indie, it works out okay. You see,